Welcome to the Poetry Fix on Radio Free Hillsdale 101.7 FM. I'm your host, Erika Kyba, bringing you your weekly fix of poetry from across time. Today we're concluding our Lenten journey with the final stanza of The Dream of the Rood. One thing I hope you pay special attention to in this episode is how the poet uses the language of motion. We've encountered this entire poem about a cross, a symbol that's spatially fixed, it's not going anywhere. As the poem ends, though, every major character in the drama of the Passion, including the cross itself, is described as moving. The poet longs to start on the journey forth, advancing towards the kingdom of heaven through the remainder of his life. He's in a moment of stillness as he prays and meditates, but this prayer then provokes a longing to be with Christ that spurs the poet to motion. The poem then describes Christ as having made a journey to the earthly realm in order to save mankind, and then as returning to his rightful home. And as for the cross itself, the poet expresses the hope that the cross will come fetch him at the end of his life and bring him up to heaven, which is the key image of salvation that the poet has laid out for us in The Dream of the Rood. Yes, the poet plays an active role in journeying towards heaven, but ultimately, his salvation is not his own work. It is the cross, the culmination of everything Christ suffered for the sake of man, which is able to conduct the poet heavenward. So what we see in this conclusion is that every person, or personified character in this poem, has an upward trajectory. And that's because, to the poet, the Passion of the Christ isn't a static, one-and-done event. It's an event that exceeds the boundaries of history, changing the course of lives that are as far temporally removed from it as the poet, or us. And it leads all who encounter it ultimately and triumphantly to the kingdom of heaven. With all that said, let's dive in. The Dream of the Rood, translated by Roy M. Liuzza. Then I prayed to the tree with a happy heart, eagerly, there where I was alone with little company. My spirit longed to start on the journey forth. It has felt so much of longing. It is now my life's hope that I might seek the tree of victory alone, more often than all men, and honor it well. I wish for that with all my heart, and my hope of protection is fixed on the cross. I have few wealthy friends on earth, but they all have gone forth, fled from worldly joys, and sought the King of glory. They live now in heaven with the High Father, and dwell in glory, and each day I look forward to the time when the cross of the Lord, on which I have looked while here on this earth, will fetch me from this loned life, and bring me where there is great bliss, joy in heaven, where the Lord's host is seated at the feast with ceaseless bliss, and then set me where I may afterwards dwell in glory, have a share of joy fully with the saints. May the Lord be my friend, he who here on earth once suffered on the hanging tree for human sin. He ransomed us and gave us life, a heavenly home. Hope was renewed with cheer and bliss for those who were burning there. The Son was successful in that journey, mighty and victorious, when he came with a multitude, a great host of souls into God's kingdom, the one ruler almighty, the angels rejoicing, and all the saints already in heaven dwelling in glory, when Almighty God, their ruler, returned to his rightful home. You've been listening to The Poetry Fix with Erika Kyba. If you enjoyed this episode, consider following The Poetry Fix on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts. And if you have any poems you want to see in a future episode, email your suggestions to thepoetryfix@gmail.com. Join me next week and we'll be reading America for Me by Henry Van Dyke.